This is the story of how Grace navigated through doubt and rediscovered her original motivation to achieve one of her dreams. Illusions of the journey. Grace tightened the laces on her new running shoes, the morning sun casting a golden hue over the quiet neighborhood streets. Today marked the beginning of her journey towards an ambitious goal, running her first marathon. Ever since watching last year's race from the sidelines, she'd been captivated by the idea of crossing that finish line, the crowd cheering and a medal gleaming around her neck. The vision filled her with excitement and a sense of purpose she felt she'd been missing. As she set off on her inaugural training run, the cool air invigorated her, and her feet moved lightly over the pavement. The world seemed full of possibilities, each stride bringing her closer to her dream. But just a mile in, her legs burned, her legs felt heavy, her lungs burned, and doubt crept in. Maybe I'm not cut out for this, she thought, slowing to a walk. The initial thrill faded, replaced by a nagging discomfort. Over the next few weeks, Grace struggled to stick to her training schedule. Early mornings had lost their appeal, and soreness in her muscles became an all too familiar companion. The goal that once seemed exhilarating now felt daunting and distant. Her mind buzzed with excuses to skip runs, and she found herself questioning why she'd ever started this endeavor in the first place. One evening after a particularly grueling day, Grace collapsed onto her couch, contemplating giving up altogether. But as she scrolled through photos of marathon runners crossing finish lines, a pang of longing struck her. She remembered the clarity and excitement she felt when she first decided to pursue this goal. The vivid image of herself achieving something remarkable. Now, determined to find answers, she visited a local bookstore and stumbled upon a book titled The Mind's Maze: Overcoming Mental Barriers. Intrigued, she began to read. The author spoke about how the mind often resists change, creating illusions of discomfort and doubt when faced with familiar challenges. This self-sabotage could cloud one's perception, making valuable goals seem undesirable once the hard work begins. A passage caught her eye. When embarking on a new journey, initial enthusiasm can be overshadowed by the mind's resistance to change. Recognize these feelings as temporary illusions. Your original vision is your true north. Let it guide you through the fog. Grace realized her waning motivation wasn't a sign that she should quit, but rather a natural response to stepping out of her comfort zone. The discomfort she felt didn't reflect her ability or the worthiness of her goal. It was simply her mind adjusting to a new path. The next morning, she revisited her training plan with renewed determination. This time, she acknowledged that challenges were part of the process. She began keeping a journal, noting not just her physical progress, but also her thoughts and feelings after each run. Whenever doubt surfaced, which it did, she wrote about her initial excitement and the reasons she set this goal. She also sought support by joining a local runners group. Sharing experiences with others pursuing similar goals made the journey a little less isolating. They encouraged each other, celebrated small victories, and offered advice on overcoming hurdles. As weeks turned into months, Grace noticed a shift. The runs became more manageable, and she even started to enjoy them. Her mindset transformed. She saw obstacles as opportunities to grow rather than signals to stop. The vivid image of crossing the finish line returned, sharper than ever. On race day, standing among thousands of runners, Grace felt a mix of nerves and anticipation. The starting gun fired, and as she settled into her pace, she reflected on how far she'd come. The doubts and discomforts had been mere illusions dissipated by her persistence and belief in her original vision. Crossing the finish line, exhausted but elated, she was greeted by cheers and the weight of a well-earned medal around her neck. Grace had navigated the maze of her mind, holding on to her true north despite the challenges. Now, Grace's journey illustrates that the excitement of setting a new goal can diminish when faced with the reality of change. It's very common to feel discouraged or disconnected as the mind and body adjust to new demands, creating the illusion that the goal is no longer desirable. But by recognizing that these feelings are temporary and remembering the clarity of her initial vision, Grace was able to persevere. Holding on to one's true north, the original purpose and excitement, can guide anyone through the uncertainties of change toward the achievement of their goals.